Hi, my name is Eloise. I am a law admissions tutor here with the Profs, and today we're going to be talking about the degree apprenticeship route into law. This video is going to look at two main aspects of the process. What is a degree apprenticeship and who might this be appropriate for? And then in some other videos we're going to break it down a little bit more and talk about your CV, comparisons to university, and a little bit more about the application process. But this video is going to be your overview, so this is a great place to start. So what is a degree apprenticeship for law? So this is actually something that's quite new to the legal profession and a really exciting opportunity for people who might want to come into the profession in different ways. So traditionally it would have been expected that you study law or another subject, do a conversion course if you studied another subject, and then eventually train to become either a solicitor or a barrister. But now with the new degree apprenticeship structures, there is an opportunity to earn while you learn. So essentially you will be on the job from day one, learning in a very practical, hands-on environment, and also earning money as an apprentice. At the end of your apprenticeship, you will normally get your study qualification, so your degree or whatever you've been working towards, plus your professional qualification, so either as a solicitor or any other apprenticeship structure, and you will have also been earning at that time as well. So the most well-known apprenticeship structure is the Solicitor Apprenticeship, and we'll be talking about that in a bit more detail. But just to mention, there are other options as well if you're looking to go into different aspects of the legal profession. So you've got apprenticeships for legal secretaries, paralegals, and also legal executives. So all of those are worth checking out if you feel like one of those routes might be more appropriate for you. In terms of the outcome of the degree apprenticeship, it really does depend on which apprenticeship you look at and also which employer you apply to. But for example, if you were to apply for a solicitor apprenticeship, you would expect to come out with a law degree and also a qualification as a solicitor. In another video, we're looking at the application process in more detail, so please do check that out. It should be on the screen right now for you to click on. But just as an overview of the application process, things you will need. Because the application or the apprenticeship structure is an alternative to university, you will not need a university degree to apply, but you will normally need GCSEs and A-levels as well. Individual firms will set their own requirements as well, so if you are applying to an extremely competitive apprenticeship scheme, you may need additional work experience or other qualifications to add to that. So you may be thinking, what are the pros and cons of apprenticeship versus a degree education? We have a separate video on that, so please do check it out right now or come back to it later. But for now, let me just give you a quick overview on the skills that you may need for your apprenticeship studies. So the skills that you will need for your apprenticeship studies will differ a little bit from the skills that you would need on a law degree. This is because the apprenticeship takes place in the context of a working environment. So some of the skills that you will need there include things like commercial awareness, a high professional maturity, an ability to develop yourself in a professional environment, organisation skills, time management, and an ability to respond to a very fast-paced and dynamic environment. So just to talk about the application process, and I'll give you the example of the solicitor apprenticeship, although obviously this will be different depending on which apprenticeship route you're looking at. For the solicitor apprenticeships, they mostly have an application process that is open from September to the end of the year. So you'll be looking at the last part of the year in terms of making your applications. And every firm's requirements will differ, so it's really important to check the website of the firm that you're applying to very carefully to see exactly what their process looks like. But a typical process might look like an application form, which will be an online set of questions, maybe even an admissions test. And we have a separate video on the Watson-Glaser test, which is one of the most frequently used tests for the admissions process to the apprenticeship schemes. And that video is on the screen right now. After you've done your online forms and maybe even your online testing, you will often be invited to a video interview. So this could be a pre-recorded interview where you're answering questions that are just put on a screen for you, or sometimes you will actually have a one-on-one video interview with a recruitment team member. There are sometimes also phone interviews at this stage, so this is really where they get to know you a little bit more. The final stage, if you get through the video or any other admissions tests, the final stage, if you get through the video interview or any other admissions tests and requirements, is to attend the offices, and this will often be known as an assessment day. So this is where they bring in everyone who's at this final stage of the application process into the offices of the law firm, and you will do things like group exercises, you might have a one-on-one interview, you might have various tasks to complete throughout the day, you might have another test, you might have lectures or information about the firm's values, things like that, where you really get a sense of what that firm is about. I'm sure many people will be wondering, what would you get paid during this process? Because it seems like it's a great opportunity to earn money while also studying for your degree or your qualification. And the salaries are pretty good for apprenticeships in the legal profession. So in London, these could range from 24 to 27,000 at the time of speaking. Obviously, salaries in London in the legal profession often do go up over time. So this is quite a good way to start your career. And outside of London, they might be around 18 to 20,000 or maybe a little bit higher than that. Now, this all might sound like an amazing deal to get your law degree and also to get a foot in the door at some of these amazing commercial law firms. But how hard is it really to get a degree apprenticeship? Well, the answer is it is an extremely competitive route because, as I'm sure you can understand, it's a very advantageous option to get into law, and there are lots of people very interested in pursuing this pathway. So in terms of difficulty level, it shouldn't be more difficult than, for example, getting into university in terms of the skills that are required and the abilities that you need to show. But it is a slightly different skill set that will be tested. So it's a little bit more on the commercial awareness side. It's a little bit more on the sort of professional ability side and your ability to work within a team and to structure your own time. So some of the skills are a bit different, and it is extremely competitive. So you will be up against a lot of other people going for the same thing, which is why it's so important to know exactly what you can offer and how you can best connect with the firm that you apply to. In terms of finding the right fit for you, it's really important to do a lot of research because this is the way that you will find out if a firm is a good cultural fit for you, if their values are similar to yours, if you have the same kind of interests and ambitions and same kind of mission as the employer that you're looking to work for. I would recommend taking a more discerning approach when you apply to these apprenticeship schemes because I know it's tempting to apply to every single apprenticeship on offer, but the more that you apply to, the less specific your applications often get. So if you have a limited amount of time to make your applications, I would advise applying to 10 to 15 firms in the first instance, maybe even less, with very specific tailored applications, looking at exactly what that firm offers, the apprenticeship schemes at that firm, and the kind of ways that you could offer something that fits with that firm's values and ambitions. Many firms will also offer open days, so you can head into the office and experience the culture firsthand, which is probably the best way to figure out what that firm is actually like to work for. Remember also to check out a firm's social media pages if they have them, see what they're up to on Instagram or TikTok, and behind the scenes sometimes you can get a sense of what that firm is really like for people who work there. And also places like LinkedIn can give you great updates on what that firm is working on, recent client work and successes that they've had. A couple of final tips for your degree apprenticeship applications. I would say the most important thing is to figure out exactly what you're applying for. A couple of tips in your degree apprenticeship applications. I think the most important thing is to really understand the degree apprenticeship and what it is that you're applying for. So as we've been talking about, the skills are slightly different than the skills that you would need to show for work experience applications or university applications. And it's really important to understand exactly what you will be needing to do in the degree apprenticeship role in order to showcase that through your applications. So understanding a little bit about commercial awareness, how the city works, how law firms work, what the role is, what kind of work these firms are involved in. All of this is kind of fundamental research that you need to do before you make your application so that you can show them that you really understand what it is that you're applying for. My second tip is to know yourself and your strengths. And this is so important because the process is so competitive that you will be up against a lot of other people and you might all look very similar on paper. So it's really important to know exactly what you can bring, what you can offer, what your skills are, what your values are, and the way that you can communicate that in a way that feels personal and unique to you. So the final tip I would say is to really develop and cultivate a sense of passion for the thing that you're applying to, because obviously this process is so competitive and it is a very big undertaking. It's often a 6 or 7 year commitment to a particular path, and so it's important to know for yourself, but also so that you can communicate that in your applications, exactly why you want to do this and what it is about the legal profession in particular that is interesting and fascinating to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do like and subscribe. If you have any questions at all, drop them in the comments and we will get back to you. Remember, if you do want any help, support, guidance, or more information on degree apprenticeships, we have a whole team here at the Profs who are specialised in helping you find the perfect degree apprenticeship for you. So please do get in touch using the information on screen now. And if you have a friend who might be interested in this kind of topic, please do send this video their way. And as always, best of luck with your applications.